Hi guys! So I am so excited to announce to you guys that I am officially done with critical care and the first half of my last semester of nursing school. So I haven't really done an update on critical care since I believe my first exam, just because I have been so busy and just really trying to focus on this last semester and finishing up well. And so I'm going to update you guys on what has happened since the first exam. So I'm going to start with my second exam. So I had an exam about 2.5 weeks ago for critical care, and I did super well. I got a 59 out of 60 and I was stoked because that meant that I got an A on my first exam, I got an A on my second exam, and then all I had left was to take the final. So my final was actually this past week. It was on Tuesday, and I got an A on my final, and I was so excited going into this final because this final was my last test of my undergrad, and so I don't have any more tests until taking the NCLEX, or if I, go on to get my master's or doctorate or whatever. But as far as for my undergrad, I'm officially done taking tests. So I ended up in critical care getting an A, and overall I just loved the lecture course. I loved the content. It was really interesting to me, and I felt like I actually, whatever I learned in class, I actually took it to clinical and applied it. And sometimes I feel like some of the stuff you apply when you go to clinical and some of the stuff you don't. And I actually felt like this time, whatever I learned in lecture, I was applying like 90% of it to clinical. So it was really great to, learn it and then be able to apply it. As far as clinicals go, I had my last ICU day yesterday. I finished up my critical care clinicals, and I am so sad to be done because I had such a great experience in the ICU at the hospital, and I just feel like I learned so much and have grown tremendously in just the past 6 weeks. I was fortunate enough to be able to work with this phenomenal nurse, and he was just really great. He had a lot of trust in me. He let me do a lot of things, and by the last day, instead of him saying like, hey, go titrate that epinephrine drip down to 2 mics a minute, he would say like, okay, so what do you think we should do with these medications? What should we titrate in order to help with the cardiac index or cardiac output or, blood pressure, heart rate, whatever. So it was really cool that by the end of my clinical experience, I was kind of making those decisions myself. Of course, I had the nurse with me. I would never just go and start titrating drips by myself, but it was cool that I kind of was like, okay, I think we should do this, and then we would do it, and we'd fix the problem, or we'd fix that problem, and then another problem would come up, and we said, okay, now what should we do now? And it was just a really great experience. I got tons of practice doing IVs and meds and assessments, and I just feel a lot more confident going into my future nursing job, whatever that may be. And it's amazing how much I've grown in these past 6 weeks, and then to think like, how much more am I going to grow once I'm actually a nurse? So the last thing that I've been working on those past few weeks has been my big research project, and my partner and I turned in our portion of the research project. It's divided up into parts, and we are working on part 2, and part 2 is the biggest portion of the project. It is the hardest. It's the part that everyone stresses over, and we turned that in. It ended up being 52 pages long, and it actually wasn't too bad because we did not procrastinate working on our big research project. We did a little bit of it every single day, and so the last weekend before it was due, we just were editing it, making sure that it was, as good as we thought we could get it, and it really worked for us, and it wasn't very stressful. A lot of people waited until a day or two before to turn in the assignment, and they were not so happy, and they were very stressed. And so I know I have said this so many times in my nursing videos, do not procrastinate. It will be your best friend if you don't procrastinate. So we turned that in, and we're just waiting on our grade. We feel very confident on how we did, but I guess we'll just see. So as far as these next 6 weeks, I have less than 6 weeks until I graduate. I graduate on August 11th. And so what I will be doing in these next 6 weeks is, first, I have a week off starting Tuesday, and I am going up to Washington to visit my husband because he got back from deployment a few weeks ago, and we haven't had a chance to see each other yet because of nursing school and all of these other factors. And so I'm so excited. I get a week off to go and visit him, and I'm stoked. The next thing that I have is I will be starting my immersion. So immersion is 9 12-hour shifts. It's basically clinicals, and I I know where I'm at, I know what hospital I'm at, but I don't know what unit I'm going to be in yet. There is the ICU, the ED, and a step-down floor, and my top two preferences were ICU or the ED. So I really, really hope I can get one of those two. I will be stoked either way. If I do get a step-down unit, you know, that's not necessarily what I portray myself as going into one day, but it'll still be such a great experience. I will learn a lot, and I am not going to have a negative attitude going into it just because it wasn't my top choice. I also will be finishing up my big research project, so now that the big portion is turned in, now basically all we have left is to create a presentation and present it in a few weeks. Other than that, my schedule has slowed down a lot. I now only have class on Tuesday from 1:30 to 5:30, and then clinicals on Wednesday and Thursday. So I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday off. And you know, it's refreshing because I've been so busy these past 3 years working towards getting my degree, and now I am so close, and it's a great feeling to not be so busy. I must say though, and a lot of you guys are going to think I'm super crazy, it is bittersweet being so close to the end because I love school and I love studying. I love working towards getting good grades. I love taking tests and feeling like all my study efforts paid off. And now I'm not going to have that, at least not until I go back to school. And that was a huge portion of like my sense of accomplishment in life. And so now I feel like I need to fill this little void somehow and find something else to do, but I'm sure I will. And you know, of course I have NCLEX coming up. I do plan on taking the NCLEX the second I am able to. I'm going to be making a video on how I am preparing for the NCLEX, and I will share that with you guys, but over these next few weeks I'm just going to be studying a lot for the NCLEX to make sure that I'm ready when I take it. Alright guys, so that is my update on my critical care portion of the semester. I'm almost done. I think I have 44 days left until I graduate, and I couldn't be more excited. Thank you guys for sharing this journey with me. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye.